But the thing about pornography addiction, which people don't realize, is studies show first and foremost that most addiction happens between ages of 10 and 12. The other thing is they've actually done brain scans, actual brain scans on children who are addicted to pornography, and they have found that the hard wiring of the brain, the actual shape of the brain changes. It actually changes. There's a physical effect of pornography addiction. And they said that the high that people get from watching pornography is the same high that people get from using cocaine and heroin. So it's like being addicted to cocaine and heroin. The three things about pornography, it's the AAA engine. It's affordability. Pornography is cheap, is free, and if it's not free, it's very cheap. Accessibility, you can access it anywhere. In the old days, you used to have to go to a video store. Now I could be watching it on my phone in front of you at the dining table and you would have no idea. Affordability, accessibility, and anonymity, the fact that nobody knows you're doing it. So what we as parents need to do is we can't do anything about the affordability, so we need to take away the accessibility and the anonymity. And like I said, after every talk, I learned something new. I just had a mom recently tell me that she was on Amazon looking for boys' briefs for her son. And she typed up boys' briefs and kinky images came up of all sorts of other haram things. And she said that the pictures were really obscene and the private parts were just kind of blurred, but you could still see what it was. And that was on Amazon. And Sheikh Rami Ansur, who is my son's Quran teacher up north, he warned the kids that there have been incidents where there are videos that say Surah Mulk on YouTube, and kids will click on it, or people will click on it to listen to Surah Mulk or watch Surah Mulk, and it'll actually be pornography. Once it's discovered and it's reported, YouTube takes it down. But if you happen to be, or your child, God forbid, happens to be the first one to click on it, then, it's a problem. So you have to talk to your kids about what to do if they ever come across it. And the third thing I want to tell people about pornography is that there is no utopia. There is no perfect community or perfect country or perfect neighborhood or perfect place or environment where you can escape this. Nowhere. I had a cousin visiting me and we were talking about it because her children all had these internet gadgets that they were using, and we were talking about the dangers of the internet, and she said, "Oh, Hina Baji, thank God I live in such and such Islamic country. Over there the government is so strict." And I didn't even have to say anything. Her husband just started shaking his head and he was like, "No, honey." The top 10 countries that download porn, out of those top 10 countries, the top 3 countries are all Muslim countries. All Muslim countries that download the most porn. I know of a student of mine who went overseas to study, and he went to go memorize Quran. And he went, I won't mention the country, but he went to this small country in Africa. And in this country, he had to go to this tiny village where all this village does, the village has 200 people in it. And they live in tents. They don't even live in homes. The only permanent building there is this one small building in which foreigners who are visiting get to spend the night. Otherwise, everybody sleeps outside under the stars or they sleep in tents. It takes 16 hours to get to this village, literally this little tent city of 200 people. 16 hours where you have to go in these big SUVs and you go over these huge rocks. When you get to this little town, I feel weird even calling it a town. It's not a town, but you get the idea. When they get there, when people get out of the cars, the first thing the villagers do who've come to greet the people is they step back because they know the second people get out of the car, they're going to throw up because the drive is so difficult getting there. This is a kind of village. It's completely off the map. It's in the middle of nowhere. There are no towns around it. So this child went there to memorize Quran. All night, they say it's like bees humming. You just hear people reciting Quran throughout the night because in the daytime it's so hot. So people do their memorizing at night. There's no electricity there. People walk around with gas lanterns. There's one generator and there's one outlet. It takes 3 days to power up a phone. There's one person in this community who's in charge of taking your phone. He will power your phone for 3 days, and then he will give it back to you. This boy told me that in that environment, boys who were memorizing Quran would take their cell phones, they would go up into the mountains, they would go like this, they would find a signal, and they would watch pornography. So there's literally nowhere to escape it. It's really heartbreaking. So we have to, just like we teach our kids how to swim, or when our kids learn how to drive, we teach them how to be safe with seatbelts. It's our job just to give them the tools how to deal, and then at some point they need to know the right thing to do if they come across something that's harmful to them. We pray for Allah's protection first and foremost, but we give them the tools as well. So when my son Amin came here to Southern California, we had pretty tight media rules in our home, and alhamdulillah, my siblings and I are on the same page. And so he was living with my brother. And my brother told me, Hina, I can watch over Amin all I want, and we can have all the rules in the house that we have. But at some point, he needs to know the right thing to do, because IOK's high school program was online. So he would be on his laptop doing his homework, and there were times my brother Faraz had to go to bed. And so he said, he needs to know what to do because I go to sleep. I don't know what could be popping up on his computer. So at that time, we came up with this drill. Just like we have safety drills at school or at work, where, if there's a fire, God forbid, stop, drop, and roll, or if there's an earthquake, what is the protocol you use? Which exit do you go out of? How do you behave? Same way, we have to have drills in place about how to deal if pornography ever pops up on your computer or your phone or whatever. So what we told our kids was, the first thing you do if pornography is ever to pop up in front of you, and we told them that something may pop up that looks weird to you, just something that you're like, wait, I wasn't looking for that. That wasn't the website I was going for. That's not the image I was searching. You'll just know, you'll have this voice in your head, and that voice is coming to you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's coming from the angels warning you that that feels weird. The first thing you do is you lower your gaze. You close the laptop, or you turn off the computer, or you unplug, whatever. You get it out of your vision. And it's interesting because at Elm Tree, my homeschooling co-op, one of the moms there is a marriage and family therapist. And she told us that, they worked with sex offenders at one time in her training who were in prison. And she said they were taught as therapists to teach these sex offenders that if anything was ever to pop up or come in their sight, the first thing they have to do is look away. The first thing they have to do is to get it out of their sight of vision, which is really, it shows you the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell us to say? He tells us to lower the gaze, right? So lowering the gaze, there's real benefit in that. It's not just like, oh, we're so, nervous, we can't look at anything. There's actually a protection of the heart and the soul of getting something out of your vision that is haram. And we told our kids that the first glance that is by mistake is a freebie. But after that, if you look again, that's when the angels start recording. So you have to be really mindful of not going back to something that felt weird or uncomfortable. So the first thing is look away. The second thing we teach our kids is to immediately say, A'udhu billah minash shaitanir rajim. And we tell them that these are words of power. These are not magic words. It's not mumbo jumbo. You have to know that when pornography or something like that pops up in front of you, you are in a shaitani environment. You're in the presence of shaitan, and you need protection. And the only one who can protect you is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ourselves have no power. So you immediately call on Allah's help for his help. So A'udhu billah minash shaitanir rajim. And it was very, very validating to me, because I gave this talk at a Zaytuna College event up north. And there were, after I was done giving my talk, Sheikh Hamza Yusuf gave his talk, his presentation, which was on the danger of the current media that's out there in the world. And he was not there when I gave my presentation. He arrived later for his talk. So he didn't hear anything I said. But when he got up on stage and he had a whole PowerPoint presentation and he went through all the different things that are out there in the world and how we need to deal, all of a sudden in his PowerPoint, he came to a black screen, and in the middle of the black screen in white letters, it said, A'udhu billah minash shaitanir rajim. And he talked about the exact same thing. He said, you need to rely on this, and you need to use these words often. And so that was very validating to hear from the friend who's a therapist, that even in non-Muslim studies, this is what they're teaching, is to lower the gaze and look away, and then to learn from the shuyukh, that we have to rely on A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajeem.